The next 30 minutes may be the most important 30 minutes of your entire career. These next 30 minutes may be the most, for the people that I'm hoping to reach, whether you're online or in this room, the next 30 minutes are the most important. I want you to take serious notes, and I want you to understand what I'm about to share with you, because it can change your entire career. Everything can change for you this year. Everything can change for you this year. I will tell you, what I've learned is slow growth. People say slow and steady wins the race. It is not true. It is not true. In our business, there's a burst of energy, and then maintenance, and then another burst of energy, and then maintenance, and then another burst of energy that gets you to where you need to go. See, if this here is the airport and the runway, and we have a little airplane here, it's an old one with a propeller. Okay, and you're in there, you know. Any pilots in the room? We have some pilots. Right here, what's your name again? Steve. So Steve's a pilot. We're on the runway. We're ready to take off. We're in our business. That plane is our business. We're ready to go. Ready? And we put it to 20% throttle. Let's go. Are we going to get off the ground at all? All right, fair enough. 40% throttle. That's double. No? Not going to get off the ground? 60%? Yes? At 60? Any pilots in the room say you can get off the ground at 60? Can't, right? 70? 80? 90? 95? 100%, right? Full throttle. You put the pedal down, boom, and you get off the ground. It takes you to an elevation. Now, do you have to stay at full throttle for the entire trip? If you're at full throttle and we take off from Las Vegas and we're going to New York, and we're full throttle to take off, if we keep it at full throttle, how far are we going to get? We're not going to make it to New York. We're going to burn through all that fuel, and we're going to have a problem. See, if you don't go full throttle, all you have to look forward to is trees at the end of the runway. That slow and steady wins the race. I'm just going to go slow and steady. I'm just going to slow and steady. I'm just going to, if I recruit one a month, and if everybody in my group recruits one a month, and that's going to be 1,000 people at the end of the first year, and I guess network marketing doesn't work. Slow and steady does not win the race. It's just like flying. You got to get to an altitude. You got to get to an altitude. And that is what I call the 90-day game plan. The 90-day game plan will change your life. People overestimate what they can do in a week or a month, and they underestimate what can be done in 90 days. 90 days can change everything. I'm living proof, and I have examples of living proof of what 90 days can do to change everything. In 1992, I was, the most I'd ever made in network marketing was about a little under $200,000. And I'm spending every penny, and I'm hustling, and I'm struggling, and I'm trying. And I'll tell you, if you're making $100,000 a year in network marketing, that's just enough money to be miserable. You pay your taxes, you try and drive your business, and you got this little job. It's no fun at 100. It's better to have a hobby at 20 than a full-time 100. I'm telling you. I don't want to scare you by saying that, but I'm just telling you. Those of you, once you get to 100, you know what I'm talking about. It's no fun. You're like, I got to break out. I got to break out. I'm seeing these other people. They're flying past me. What do I got to do? And I was with a company that had hit a wall. It was a company called NSA. They had water filters and air filters. And their company was going through a lot of drama. And they hadn't switched. They'd switched to Juice Plus later. They became a nutritional company, and they're very successful still today. But they hadn't done that at that time. So full-timers like me were desperate. And I joined another company in September of 1992. And I decided that I was going to engage in a 90-day burst of activity like I'd never worked in my life. Now, understand, I'm a guy who's kind of struggling, making 100 to 200. And in my first 12 months, my 1099 was $980,000. In my first 12 months. I'm the same guy with the same skills, same abilities, same influence, same contacts. And I went from struggling to $980,000 in 1 year. 1 year. You know what made that happen? A 90-day burst, a 90-day game plan. It all happened from 90 days. Another gentleman that was involved with me at that time, his name's Art. And Art drove, we had an event that we started with that company. He drove from Boston to Chicago. Had no money, broke, never made more than a couple $1,000s in network marketing, never in his life. And he said, I'll do whatever I need to do. Tell me what I need to do. And we sat down with him, and never forget, we sat in this lounge and we said, let's create a 90-day game plan for you to be able to change your life. You know what we told him? The only thing between you and being a millionaire is putting 1,000 people in the room in Boston 90 days from today in your downline. He said, really? I said, really? Can you show me how? Yes, I can show you how. I can be a millionaire from the efforts that I do in the next 90 days. And it's learnable. Yes. Well, Art did that. He went back. And he followed instructions. He quit 2 weeks later. And then we had to talk him back into it. Seriously. And 90 days later, he didn't have 1,000 people in the room, but he had about 700 in the room 90 days later from nothing, with no money. We taught him exactly how to do it, step by step, the total game plan, the total blueprint, how to build towards it, how to do it, and how to come out of it. Today, Art makes about $5 million a year. Number one in his company. About $5 million a year, over $400,000 every month. He was broke, no money, had to drive from Boston to Chicago and then back again. Quit 2 or 3 times during his 90-day game plan. Pulled it off, and that started a career for him. Brian Carruthers is another example. Brian Carruthers was with my company, TPN. And Brian had never made more than $2,000 in a month with my company. And when my company sold to Prepaid Legal Services, who's now become Legal Shield, when my company sold, Brian, there's people moaning and crying and upset and freaked out and we'll see and all that stuff. And Brian said, you know what? This is my window. This is my opportunity. I'm going to attack this like I've never attacked anything in my life. Another gentleman at the same time that he works with today, and top earner, his name is Darnell Self, one of the best leaders in network marketing, decided at the same time, you know what, that was going to be his future. Prior to that, what the most Darnell ever made? $400 a month. And where did he work? Retail or something? He worked in a retail store at a mall. Darnell Self, one of the most powerhouse guys in the profession. But what those guys decided to do while everybody else was crying and whining and wondering, and this is a big transition, transitioning one company into another network marketing company is huge. They decided to put together a 90-day game plan, and they put it together like you've never seen in your life. And they worked so hard. I'm going to teach you some of the things that they did. They worked so hard, so focused, at 100% throttle to get off the ground and get it going. Brian had never made more than $2,000 in a month. What was your first month's check? 11. What was it after 6 months? 24. What was it after 12 months? 42. How much could you go back and point to of your 14 million that you've earned since that time? How much could you go back and point to your first 90 days? Almost all of it. So how much did you get paid per hour for your first 90 days? Figure that out for a second. Let's just do the math for a second. You got 40 hours in a week. You've got 90 days. That's going to be about, what, 12 weeks? 12 times 40 is how much? 480? 480 weeks, or 480 hours. Somebody pull out a calculator, take 14 million divided by 480 hours. How much? $29,000 an hour. And running. It's still growing. You understand what I'm saying? The 90 days is everything. He's maintained, he's grown, he's trained, he's supported, he's done all that stuff. And how many 90-day game plans have you done since then? Well, you haven't done one every 90 days. But would you say probably averaged about one a year of pure 90-day hardcore focus in between supporting and doing everything else? Yeah, vary in intensity. But did anything ever touch the intensity of the first 90? No. That got him off the ground. Got him to a level. Put him on a path. Changed his whole life. Darnell's earned how much? 8 million during the same period of time. How much of that 8 million could he point to the first 90 days? Almost all of it. Isn't that something? Myself, 2005, I was in a tough spot. I had my financial world got rocked. I invested with a company about $9.5 million into a traditional personal development company, a media company that didn't work. Fired myself. Came back to the network marketing profession as a builder. And I decided that I had to work like my life hung in the balance. My first 90 days, I hit it hard. And I'm going to show you what that looked like. But I made $7 million in the next 6 years in commissions. Almost all of it I could point to the first 90 days. So it's not the first 90 days when you're starting something, it's any 90-day period you choose. Stay right where you're at, draw a new line, and pick a 90-day blast and go full throttle right here. This 90-day burst is everything. Now, slow and steady does not win the race. 90 days can totally change your life. Here's what it's like. $100% sold out for 90 days. You know what? You can't maintain this intensity just like you can't keep full throttle for forever. You'll burn yourself out, but you can do anything for 90 days. Here's what I did. I decided, how many people are full-time? All right, how many part-time? All right. If it's full-time, let me show you what it looks like. It starts for me at 8 a.m. every day, and it finishes at midnight every day for 90 days. I took Sundays off. That was it, kind of, during the 90 days. But it was 16 hours a day. You know what I learned about a 16-hour day? Nobody does it. Everybody talks about one 16-hour day they did one time, and they just brag about it like crazy. But try 16 hours a day for 90 days. You are lonely a lot. You are pounding it a lot. What it looks like is total sellout. What it looks like is 100 phone calls a day. What it looks like is getting face-to-face with 10 people a day. What it looks like is doing recruiting conference calls and webinars 6, 8 times every day. What it looks like is putting together your leadership team and getting that leadership team excited about your vision and your intensity and the focus of your goal because you're good pushing towards a big event. One of the things that I coached Darnell on is that he needed to put together an event. And he needed to build his team towards an event. He really needed to do that to go to the next level. What happened, Brian, after he did that? Explosion, right? How many people does he have at his events now? 4,000. Does these huge events. Builds. Meetings make money, right? So what I did in 2005, I put an event in place, one event in place, and the company had their convention. The event was 60 days after I launched. And I told everybody, the event was in Chicago. Get to Chicago, get to Chicago. Future's in Chicago. The training's in Chicago. Your life is in Chicago. You do planes, trains, automobiles. You can't miss it. Put a team together, promote. And in 60 days, we had, I don't know, 350, 400 people. Flew in, drove in to Chicago. And 60 days after that, we had, I don't know, over 1,000 people at the convention in our group from a standing start 4 months later. Turned it into 7 million. Okay? So total focus. Hitting it from every angle. You know what you have to do this? I'm only talking to the serious people here now. If you want to change your life in 2012 and be able to look forward 10 years from now and point back to a 90-day period in 2012 where you changed everything. You went from being average to extraordinary. You went from being invisible to being known. You went from being a distributor to being a rock star. Right? That's what I want